Hey guys, welcome to lesson 5.4. The last lesson we completed our app, and in this lesson I want to show you some things that we missed in the last time. So our app is now complete. We have learned how to work with AI. But one of the things that we missed and we generally did not get to do is because our project is very small, we did not get to set up rules for cursor. So basically, if we select cursor, go to the cursor menu up here, go to settings, go to cursor settings, you will see that we can set up some rules right here. Now, rules are basically just instructions for the AI agent that it will follow, and it tries to follow them in general. But here's the beautiful thing: you actually do not need to write these rules, all of them yourself. You can go to this website, and on this website, you will find different Flutter rules that have already been created. And you can use them in your project. For example, this one. You are an expert in Flutter, Dart, Riverport, Freeze, Flutter hooks, and Supabase. So we do not use these. And the next one is you are a senior Dart programmer with experience in the Flutter framework and preference for clean programming and design patterns. This is more general set of rules. There are some other ones. For example, this one is for Flutter development, specializing in clean architecture, Flutter first organization, and Flutter block. So what I would do right now is open these, copy all these rules, go to cursor, and you can create new rules. Now, go to add rule and give them a name. And just paste all the rules that we have copied from the website. And here you can select always. If you select always, these rules will always be used in every chat. So you can really use them for problems that keep coming up again and again. I encourage you to read them on your own time. For example, key principles, write concise technical Dart code with accurate examples. Some of which I do like, for example, is always start implementing code. Don't tell me what we should do. Instead, create instead start implementing and changing files immediately. So this is one of the problems that I see again and again. For example, if you remember during the first video when we were building this app, we actually wanted to build it, and what happened was that it just gave us an explanation. The chat just gave us an explanation and it did not implement it. And in many cases, if you pay for Cursor, you actually will lose a prompt, because if you pay for Cursor, you only get 500 prompts. So if you use this rule, it will immediately start implementing it. Now, another rule that you can write probably is, as a beginner, use detailed comments all over the project, explaining what each task does. See? So I encourage you to use these rules. You can also copy them from other places. For example, this one says Dart, Riverpod, Freeze, Flutter hooks, and Supabase. You do not need that. Delete all this. Dart, Riverpod, and clean architecture. So you can always copy them from this website and modify them to your own liking, right? And you can also have some auto attach, some agent requested, or some manual rules. You can play around with this, but I encourage you to write this and modify these rules according to your own liking. Second thing that I want to tell you in the last lesson is do not trust AI code blindly. And I know, I have told you to just let AI do most of the things, but you must learn. You must learn what a presentation layer is. You must learn what providers do. And you must always, always ask GPT or any other AI. For example, you can ask it, what does a provider do in Flutter? And give an example. And it will explain it to you. But you need to do this a lot. In fact, that is your main job, to create these projects and learn from these projects. You have to know how to build it. For example, you have to know what an alert dialog is and what is a text widget. Why does the alert dialog have a title? You need to know programming yourself. You cannot turn the AI agent blindly. You can trust AI widgets when you are building very small apps or very rapid development. For example, you have an idea and you want to quickly get it done, then trust the AI. But if you have a real business case, do not trust AI. Something seems complex, go back to AI, ask what is happening, and try to figure it out. If logic is critical to business, be careful. You must know what your framework is actually doing. That is your job now. I feel that with the invention of AI, with the advent of AI, our job now has turned us into learners. And it was always true in life, but now it is more important than ever. You cannot trust AI blindly. Final thing that we did not do, and I want to show you, is writing tests. So we in our app did not write any tests, but that is really outside the scope of a beginner. And I really think that you should learn what testing is. And there are many good courses that you can do. But I just want to touch on it so that in the future you know what tests are. And with AI code, you actually need to test as much as possible, because if you have good tests, you know that your code is working. And you also need to write tests from scratch. For example, I am just quickly going to generate a test for our add goal use case. So I'm going to say create a test case for the add goal use case. And it's going to generate. Okay, guys, we are back now. So, what happened was that it started to create a lot more tests than I asked it for. For some reason, AIs are still not perfect, and whenever they make mistakes, you need to stop them, which I did, and I asked it to just create one test case. Now, we go to the terminal, and this is the test case that it created, and let's actually run it. Flutter test. And you can see that all tests have passed. Now, this is really just showing to you. We are really touching the surface. I have not done anything. I have just built one test case. And usually, for one component, you you might need at least 3 to 5 test cases. You need to test with the right data and with the wrong data. Testing really by itself is a whole domain. I encourage you to read about it and go to YouTube about it, but testing really is essential. I have in this course, I am really teaching you development, but you can always go back to your old pal AI and ask it about testing. For example, how many tests should there be for one component? And what types of tests there are, right? There is no fixed number of tests you must write, but you should aim to cover all critical behaviors of the component. So there are unit tests, we test individual functions, widget tests, we test a single widget and UI, integration tests, we test the full app or flow between screens. They're very slow and they test the entire app. You can always go back to AI and ask for it information and you can learn from it. Remember, as I have said it many, many times in this course, you are now a learner. So that is all. Our app is now done. I have now told you about rules. We have now touched testing. And in the next video, I will be saying goodbye to you and I will give you some future work to do. So, see you in the next lesson and our final lesson. Goodbye.